Bernie Sanders endorsed Joe Biden last week, it was, not a surprise. However, I think the timing was definitely more of a surprise. Remember, it took Bernie Sanders weeks to endorse Hillary Clinton after he dropped out of the race in 2016. He endorsed her just roughly 2 weeks before the Democratic National Convention. However, this time, Joe Biden got Sanders' endorsement months before the Democratic Convention in April. The convention is in August. It also started a week of a lot of major endorsements for Biden. So Sanders was that Monday, then followed by former President Obama, who was sitting out the race in terms of endorsement until there was a presumptive nominee. And then on Wednesday, it was Elizabeth Warren, the former progressive presidential candidate. So big week of endorsements for Biden. It definitely shows a coalescing of the party. However, there are some progressives and Sanders supporters that are still skeptical of Biden. Sanders' National Press Secretary, Brianna Joy Gray, saying that she wasn't there yet, that she wasn't ready to endorse Biden. We don't know if she will endorse Biden. However, other Sanders supporters have followed him in endorsing Biden. Essentially, they're all united by this common goal of defeating Trump in November.
I think it was expected for a lot of people who were planning on voting in this election cycle. He said that he was going to support whoever the nominee was from the beginning. He did the same thing in 2016. So for most people who consider themselves on the left, radicals, progressives, I think it was something that was expected. And you also had the hashtag, Never Biden popping up even before he made his decision. And so people are independent. They appreciate Bernie Sanders for a lot of different reasons. And among those is, most of it is his policy. And if those policies aren't going to be reflected in whoever the administration is, whoever the nominee is, then there's no reason to just mindlessly back him. It's not a cult. People make up their own mind. And, if you understand politics and you understand how the Democratic Party works, and you know that Bernie Sanders goes along with the establishment to an extent. So I work in city government, and I'm going to call out some of my, I guess you could say, colleagues, but task force is one of the easiest things that you can legislate, that you can create. Implementing the task force recommendations is another issue. And so I think it sounds good to be able to say that you're studying the issue, but we've pretty much litigated most of these issues throughout the debate. We've litigated them since 2016 when Donald Trump won the election. So we understand a great deal what the problems are. The current crisis has illuminated what the problems are. Now you just need the political will. So a task force, I think for a lot of people, is not sufficient. And there's no guarantee. There's really not even a sense that Joe Biden or anyone in the administration is going to implement these things if they do get passed. I think it's definitely the latter. People are going to be skeptical. You saw the same thing with Hillary Clinton, and she was even more amenable to some of these issues. She tried to hail herself as a progressive throughout her campaign, but people look at records. They look at your history. They look at the policies that you've supported, the people that you've supported over the years. Biden has had a longer time in government to show exactly where his priorities lie. He's making these same statements in front of donors as we speak, saying that there's not going to be fundamental change. And he's still promoting centrism and unity without anything to back it up. So I think the most important thing right now is that you have to find someone who is actually willing and shows a sincere interest in passing things that everyday people need and want. And he hasn't shown any history of fighting for these issues. So that is going to be his problem, especially when you compare him to someone like Hillary Clinton, who promised these things. She promised more than Joe Biden, and people still stayed home.